It is CBS Sports HQ Spotlight. Welcome, Chris Hassel, Amanda Guerra, and former NFL vet Douzable. Feels like a month ago that we kicked off this week in the NFL on Thanksgiving with that crazy Bears-Lions game.
That was a month ago.
Totally mismanaged. It was technically last month, but it seems like a lifetime ago, probably for Matt Eberflus, who was fired, now unemployed. Broncos trying to strengthen their grip on that last wild card spot in the AFC tonight, hosting the Browns to finally wrap up this week.
Yeah, however, we do have some teams that have already clinched a spot in the postseason. The Chiefs officially headed to the postseason for a 10th consecutive year after their win against the Raiders. Bills followed suit with their win in the snow, a snow dub over the 49ers. Take a look at the playoff picture where things stand right now. So the Chiefs, the Bills, they are in. That leaves 5 spots available in the AFC. Over in the NFC, Lions still in the lead for the number 1 seed. Eagles, Vikings nipping at their heels. Both of those teams moving to 10-2 over the weekend. The Raiders, Giants, and the Pats, sorry about you, all eliminated.
You know who's one win from the playoff?
What are you talking about?
Pete's Arizona State Sun Devils.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, congratulations, Pete. Are you going to go to the game in Dallas?
No, but I am so excited. I can't wait till they go to the national championship game in Atlanta. I will go to that one.
Ooh.
You won't be attending a game this year, then.
Dang,
That's what?
Oh, come on.
What did you say? He's going to go?
He's like, let's be realistic here.
Unless they make a national championship game.
You're not wrong, Chris, but anything we get from here on out is gravy. When they were picked to finish last in the conference, it's all gravy, baby.
Congratulations, Pete Prisco. Okay, I'm going to move on to the NFL now because we're going to talk about the playoff picture there, and we're going to go through some of the teams that have similar records, see which one is kind of in a better spotlight right now. Let's start with the Lions and the Chiefs. Both now, Douzable, 11-1. Who's the better 11-1 team?
To me, the most complete team probably in the NFL, with the Eagles being right there, is the Detroit Lions. I think they're the most complete team in the NFL. Now, they do have some injury issues right now when it comes to the secondary, but that offense can beat you in a multitude of ways. Jared Goff, so efficient with the football, still number 1 in completion percentage. They have a two-headed monster in Sonic and Knuckles in the backfield. They can run on anybody, and they have the best offensive line in all of football. So right now, the Detroit Lions are the best team. And even though they are missing Aiden Hutchinson, they still find ways to win games. They have the best tandem at safety in the NFL with Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch as well. I know that a big concern for Pete is, will they be able to rush the passer when it matters the most? Now, we saw in the second half versus the Chicago Bears, they struggled getting after the quarterback some, and with those injuries to the cornerback position, right, they almost let the Chicago Bears come all the way back and win that game. But right now, to me, Detroit is the most complete team in the NFL.
Yeah, but I don't know if they can handle all that. They are the best team. If Aiden Hutchinson was there and they didn't have all the injuries, I think it would be a slam dunk. They're the best team in the NFL. But those injuries are starting to pile up. I mean, you're talking across the board. You know, they lose Anzalone. Now Malcolm Rodriguez is out for the year. The defensive lineman, Wingo, is now out for the year. I mean, these guys are dropping all over the place, and you can only handle so many losses on your defense. As good as they've been on offense, you have to be able to get the quarterback on the ground. You got to be able to stop the run. And when you have all those injuries on that defensive line, it's hard to pick them. I'll stay with them for right now. But, boy, I'll tell you what, it's getting closer and closer. They're coming back to the pack.
Okay, both agreeing on the Lions, who have won 10 straight games. There's also a trio of teams that have won 5 or more consecutive games at 10-2. Bills, Eagles, Vikings. Pete, which one of those teams is the best?
The Bills are the best. And everybody's going to say the Eagles because we're prisoners of the moment, and they had that big win over the Ravens. But the Bills have consistently been one of the best teams in the league, and people are sleeping on them. And they're getting guys back. They're, you know, once they get fully healthy on the offense, those guys haven't been together at all year long. They went out and got Cooper, and I think Cooper, Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, and that group have only played together, I think, 1 game since they got him. When they're all healthy and back out on the field, we know they can run the ball. Josh Allen is the MVP right now. And you go to the defense, you know, getting Milano back is big. So, look, the Eagles are great. They're physical. They've run through this gauntlet, and they've made a lot of people forget about what they said about Nick Sirianni early in the season. But right now, the team that people are sleeping on is the Buffalo Bills, the one I picked to win it all and go to the Super Bowl.
Pat yourself on the back, Father Christmas, a.k.a. Grinch. Pete, I saw on social media you singing about Let It Snow, and then you became the Grinch because apparently you hate snow games. Did last night change your mind? I mean, that was a phenomenal, fun game to watch, Pete Prisco.
It becomes a survival test. I mean, nobody can run any routes. Everybody can barely run. It's terrible football. It's not football. It's hope you make it through the game, make a big play, make somebody miss, and off you go. It's awful football. It's bad for the game.
Well, Pete, I am going to be like all those people. I think the Eagles are the best 10-2 team. And, of course, you're going to pick Josh Allen and the Bills. You've been riding that coattail for 2-3 years now. But when you look at the Eagles, right, when you look at the difference between them and the Bills, Pete, whose defense are you taking right now in regards to making a run? You would have to say the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Because what they've been able to do with Vic Fangio, and I know there were some struggles in the beginning of the year, and you talked about the Bills getting healthy at the right time. It seems like this Eagles defense is getting better and better as they get more comfortable in their roles with Vic Fangio. Saquon Barkley, to me, is the favorite for MVP. And I know people will say the quarterback position is the most valuable on the field. But what Saquon Barkley has done in second half of games, when the Eagles needed him the most, you see it right here, 25-yard touchdown run, right? They put it on the offensive line. They put it on Saquon Barkley late in games. He's like that calming presence for this offense. They are a complete team. I said it earlier. I said maybe besides the Lions, the Eagles may be the most complete team in the NFL. We talk about how explosive they are on offense. And let's not forget the Slim Reaper hasn't even been playing for them lately at receiver. So when he comes back, Devontae Smith, they're going to be even more explosive on offense. Saquon Barkley leads the league in rushing yards, is top 3 in rushing touchdowns. Jalen Hurts, you might as well count a touchdown when he's in goal line situation because the tush push is not getting stopped by anybody. But this defense is what separates them from everybody else. The Buffalo Bills give it up in the run game. We saw it last night with Christian McCaffrey. Before he got hurt, they weren't tackling him at all. And let's not forget when they played the Baltimore Ravens, Derrick Henry's still running the football right now. So when you look at a complete team and what they do on offense and defense, the Eagles are the better 10-2 team right now.
Yeah, well, you had the question, a better 10-2 team and MVP. I wanted to ask Pete one question. Would it be easier to convince you that the Eagles are better than the Bills, or that Saquon should be MVP right now over Josh Allen?
That's a good question.
That's great.
That the Eagles are better than the Bills. Look, Saquon, you can make a case for him, but here's the problem with Saquon. Saquon's been fantastic. I love the guy. He's a fantastic running back. He's the prototypical back. You know what he's getting before he's touched? 4.2 per rush before he's touched. Thinking about that. Think about that for a second. That's how good the offensive line is. He's a great player, but the offensive line makes it all go. Kudos to the Eagles because they are so good on both lines. But when push comes to shove, and I'm not using the tush push, by the way, I'm talking about when push comes to shove, I will take Josh Allen in any situation against Jalen Hurts. Lock it up. That's the difference between the two teams.
I would love to see Pete as the center during the tush push. Could you get low now?
I used to get low.
Leverage is not an issue. Leverage will not be an issue.
Let's go to a couple 9-3 teams, and this is really interesting. We're looking at the Steelers and the Packers here. Steelers, kudos to Mike Tomlin.
Man.
21 straight winning seasons for that franchise right now. It ties the longest streak of having winning seasons in NFL history. Okay, I got that out. I'm not good with the words here. And then we're looking at the Packers, who, by the way, going up against the Lions this week.
Yeah.
That's going to be very telling.
Man.
But looking at these two 9-3 teams, who do you like better?
Man, I went back and forth, and this is really close. But I went with the Green Bay Packers, and I think it's because the consistency at the quarterback position. Now, Jordan Love has not played up to the standards that he did when they went on that win streak last year, but I just have a little bit more faith in him. And adversely, when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, there is no better team to play, Pete, to get your confidence right than the Cincinnati Bengals defense. And we saw Russell Wilson carve them up for 400 yards last week because that's how bad the Bengals defense is. But the added element of physicality to Green Bay with Josh Jacobs, I think, is what puts them over the top. Like, they haven't had that in the past. Aaron Jones was a really good all-around runner, but Josh Jacobs just brings a physicality and an attitude that I think this Green Bay Packers team needs. Xavier McKinney should be in a Defensive Player of the Year running, right? He leads the NFL in interceptions. I love that young secondary for the Green Bay Packers. I give them a slight edge, but it's very close because of Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, I give them an edge as well. I think this Packers team is the one team that, again, in the NFC that people are sleeping on. I thought so before the year. You mentioned Love. He's starting to get back to what he was. I think he struggled early coming off that injury. Didn't look like the same guy, but he's getting there. And as he gets there and everybody starts to get healthy on that team, I think you'll see them rolling a little bit. But it's close. Look, nothing but respect to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm the guy before the season who sat here and said the Steelers would be the worst team in their division. Well, you know what? I'm eating those words, and the Pittsburgh Steelers fans are reminding me of that. Kudos to Mike Tomlin. He is such a darn good football coach. I mean, you look inside the numbers of this team. You really do. If you dissect it, what do we always say about the Steelers? They run the ball, and they knock the quarterback down. Going into Sunday's game, they were averaging 4 yards per rush. That's not very good. And on the other side of the ball, they were, I think, 22nd in the league in sacks per pass per game. That's not the Steelers' way. But they find a way, and Russell Wilson's starting to make plays. And again, you mentioned it, Lige. The Cincinnati Bengals were like a JV team for any offense that they play. You can get healthy against them. Let's see moving forward how Russell Wilson plays in the big games.
Steelers host the Browns on CBS next. The Browns play tonight to finish off this week. If they lose, Broncos will have a 2-game lead on everybody else in that AFC wild card mix. We asked both you guys to try to come up with a team outside of the playoffs right now that could make a run. Pete, there aren't many options here. Who would you pick?
Well, in the AFC, I think it's the Colts. I mean, they play the Broncos, and they have a soft schedule to end the season. And I think that's the one team, when you look at it, you say, okay, they could make the run to go get into the postseason, because the schedule is soft, and they do play the Broncos. And when you play them head-to-head, that's the most important thing. Here's the other thing about it. Anthony Richardson's getting better. The sitting him down was the right thing to do, and I didn't think it would be, but it was. You hear that it made him refocus on coming to the building early and leaving late, which sometimes you have to do as a young quarterback, and I think that's been a good thing for him. So I would go with the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, Pete, I went back and forth on this. I think the playoffs are set in the AFC, right? Too much Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde from Anthony Richardson. To your point, he has played better, but we also have to put it into perspective, right? He played the Jets, who have given up scores late in drives to the New England Patriots and other teams to lose games. And then they just played the Patriots, right, which aren't a really good football team. I think a lot will be learned when they play the Denver Broncos, who lead the league in sacks, who are one of the most competitive defenses in all of football. I just don't see, because of that 2-game lead you talked about, that the Chargers are going to get caught. I don't see the Denver Broncos getting caught. I believe the AFC is set. It's just going to be placement where teams finish.
I thought it was pretty funny on that thing we threw up there that Pete's Jags are still listed as in the hunt. They have not been eliminated yet. Not yet, Pete. Not even at 2-10.
Tonight, if the Broncos win, they're done. Then you can start talking about the draft.
Over in the NFC, we had the same question for you guys, and you both had a bubble team and the Bucks that could potentially make it. Right now, they're tied, same record as the Falcons. However, the Falcons have the tiebreaker. They've already played each other twice now. Similar schedule down the stretch as far as strength of schedule?
No, I think the Bucks win this division.
I mean, honestly, they still have to face the Chargers. Other than that, it's pretty soft.
I think Atlanta is in trouble.
They still have to face the Vikings.
Exactly. They have the Vikings and the Chargers. I think they're in trouble. The way Kirk Cochain has played the last few weeks has been abysmal. I stated this earlier. I think Raheem Morris has to take a hard look in the mirror and get a pulse on his team, because it might be time to play the rookie, Michael Penix Jr. I mean, Kirk Cousins is throwing games away. 4 interceptions last week. He looked abysmal versus Denver as well. So they literally brought Kirk in to be a playoff contender. They felt like they were set at other positions on offense, and they knew with Raheem Morris coming over, the defense would be improved. But Kirk Cochain has really struggled since those 2 games versus the Tampa Bay Bucks. Adversely, Pete, the Bucs are getting healthy at the right time. Mike Evans had a big game versus the Panthers yesterday. We saw Bucky Irvin. He has been a godsend in the 3rd round for them. Over 170 all-purpose yards yesterday. And you saw Rashad Wright, right? That was in overtime, a 38-yard run to put them in field goal range for Chase McLaughlin to win that game. I love this offensive line from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're young, they're athletic, they're physical to get after you. I think the Bucs win this division.
I think the Bucs win the division as well. That's why I think I'd put them into this spot. But, Lige, is it going to sit down Kirk Cousins and you're in a playoff race? What are you kidding me?
I'm just saying, he might keep them out of the playoff race.
He's never started a game?
He might keep them out.
He's never started a game, and you're going to take him out of the division-leading team and stick him in as the starting quarterback? That's ridiculous.
I'm just saying, the Steelers did it earlier this year, and it worked out for them.
It's too late. The ship has sailed. And I'm with you on Kirk Cousins is not playing well. And you mentioned the Bronco game, but even go back to the Saints loss. He wasn't good in that game either. And so he is struggling, but they can't take him out and put Penix in and make him the starter. I think it's too late in the season. But I do like the Bucs. I think the Bucs are getting healthier. They're getting guys back. Jamal Dean is back. That's important for them. You're seeing guys on that defensive line. Kalijah Kancey didn't play early in the season. He's starting to become an impact player. If the Bucs get in, and I think they will, they're going to be a dangerous team come playoff time.
Pete Prisco, Lige Douzable, we appreciate it. Pete, maybe one day on a Monday you'll make your way in here. It'd be nice to see your face.
Nobody lives closer to the studio than Pete.
Literally.
Lige and I are flying across the country to get back here on Mondays. Pete's at home.
This is an ad on my schedule that happened about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, he actually works Mondays for free.
Oh, I thought it was just AARP sort of thing, right into Wisconsin. I am teasing you, Pete. I love you more than anyone. You know that. Pete will make an appearance on Pushing the Pile. Lige, don't laugh too hard. Pushing the Pile with our guys there, NFL podcast on CBS. Latest episode taking a look at Week 13 so far. Getting the grades there. Russell Wilson out dueling Joe Burrow and going back over that Eagles-Ravens rock fight.